Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, people of YouTube, the world beyond. My name is Gerald. My friends call me Jerry. I'm here to discuss a kind of an important issue: protests and rallies. What they are gatherings of people. When that's accomplished for Jesus Christ, it's considered church. Now, I have to wonder if people consider the fact that when they gather together, they're concentrating on a single effort or a single point within their imagination. Now, what's in your imagination? Well, what's in your heart? You see, your heart is what defines where your energy goes. So what you believe in, or what's in your imagination, is what will define the actions of what you are doing. Well, in my heart's Jesus Christ. So I don't gather for human rights or many other different things that rallies are going on for, political protests. Take, for instance, this Black Lives Matter movement that's happening. Black Lives Matter. Yes, they do. But all lives matter. Filipino, black, Italian, white, purple, yellow, green. It really doesn't matter. Lives is what matters. Now, when you're gathering together as a people, and what sits in your imagination, that's what defines where your effort goes, where your energy goes, what's accomplished due to that gathering of people. That's where all your energy is. Now, when I speak of energy, I don't mean New Age movement kind of stuff. I don't know how to put that in any other way. What I mean is the energy that was given to you by God when you were born, your spiritual energy, the energy that helps you move forward to connect to Christ so that you may go back home. What's home? Home is where the heart is. So what's in your heart? Well, what's in your heart also defines what's in your imagination. Let's break that word down for a minute. Imagination was a word that was given to me by Jesus Christ. A definition that I'm about to give you. Imagination. So image, in, a, cross, ion. T-ion. Imagination. Imagine at ion. You can break it down in many different ways. But basically what it comes down to is, what's an ion? Well, an ion's your energy. It's a form of energy, right? So if your image in that form of energy is Jesus Christ, well, that's what sits in your heart. And if that image that's in your energy is of evil or darkness or deceit or manipulation, the list goes on and on. They're the devil's tools, Satan's tools. Call it what you will. Evil, disgust, distaste. Again, call it what you will. But the fact of the matter is, the image in your ion, or the image in your energy, is what defines what direction you're going to go as to what you're going to accomplish. Now, these movements that are going on, the one thing that I find nobody is looking at is that they're all being manipulated. 9 times out of 10, the people that are in these rallies and protests are being used. Who are they being used by? Well, again, what's in your imagination? What do you follow? What are you part of? Now, for me, most of my life, well, I've known Jesus Christ, or knew of Jesus Christ, but I didn't know him. I got to know him in my later years, after falling away, and he woke me up again due to his grace. Thank God. I mostly concentrate on him. Learning about him, learning about myself with him, learning how to listen. It's all a very beautiful process. But when you're concentrating on the things that are getting you new cars or more money or more control over that other person, what's it really getting you? The more you get, the less you have. That's the truth of it. Excuse me. Now, when it comes to these protests and rallies, I'm going to go back to something that a lot of people either haven't considered, don't know of, or just find it to be not part of what's going on today. Well, I'll tell you, it's more about what is going on today than people even are aware of. You see, there was a letter written by a guy, I'll call him just a guy, by the name of Albert Pike. He was one of the head of the Freemasons. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are asking, how does that have anything to do with me? Well, in this letter, it talks about how they're going to mount people against people. Well, that may not be the correct word. They intend on putting people against people in many different forms, like Muslims against Christians, the Roman Catholics against atheists, homosexuals against everybody. Now, what does that mean exactly? Well, let's take the Black Lives Matter movement. All lives matter. And when these people are getting together and promoting violence, that means that no lives matter. None except those that are committing the violence. Therefore what? They're the ones that are to be in power. They're the ones that are to control. So are you not just falling into the same game, the same lie that you've been told 1,000 times before? If you're tired of being manipulated and controlled and treated like dogs, and I'm not talking the black people or the Filipino people or anybody, I'm talking about everybody. If you're sick of being treated like that, why are you allowing yourself to be manipulated? These movements that are going on are to do nothing more than to control you in a way that you don't think you're being controlled. These people that are in this Black Lives Movement that are promoting violence, it's wrong. You have the opportunity to change the world's opinion about how Black Lives Matter. Rather than going and getting violent and smashing cities, they're calling for a day of rage. A day of rage. What does rage get you? Well, it rips apart that which is in your heart because of all that anger. Anger is the opposite of love. And I'm not saying that Jesus Christ was all love, all this, all that. That's what some people seem to consider. Jesus Christ, he was everything. Okay, I don't put him in a box. I can tell you this. When I seen this movement that was going on, and now it's they're calling for a day of rage in 37 different places in the United States to commit violence and to push back the police, I guess. I'm not exactly sure what they're trying to accomplish. But if you have that kind of a forum and that kind of a voice in 37 states, could you imagine for one moment if you weren't calling for violence, but for peaceful protest against the violence that's been projected at you? Could you imagine how much that would change? There's an opportunity of a lifetime here. But instead, you're being manipulated and controlled by those that are in power. Who's in power? There's a question that most people would ask and not know the answers to. They think it's their governments. They think it's the politicians that they vote for to put in power. No. Maybe at one point, but not anymore. Those that are in power are the secret societies. I know, sounds crazy, sounds a little off the wall. But I know from personal experience that the people that work behind the scenes are the ones that make the scenes happen. Especially when most people are not considering it. They're asleep to the actual truth. Because they're lying to themselves. Lying to themselves in ego. Lying to themselves for self-preservation. Call it what you will. Most people live in illusion. What does that mean exactly? Well, living in illusion is telling yourself something that isn't true. Like this Black Lives Matter movement. It could be true. It could be so truthful. It could partially change the world. It could change the world for all I know. But they're faced in the wrong direction. Let me get back to this letter about Albert Pike that he wrote. Him and many other secret societies have been working hard to make that letter come true. I know this from a Freemason himself, who, without even knowing it, told me all about it because he was bragging. He wasn't telling me in confession. He was bragging. The Freemasons, the Illuminati, the Golden Dawn, Opus Dei, the Rainbow Society, the Shriners. Shriners are just another fraction of Freemasons, and Freemasons are just another faction of the Illuminati. Do your research. Don't take my word for it. Look into it. And the Rainbow Society? Well, now it's called the International Order of Rainbow for Girls. What it is a Masonic youth organization. Masonic. Masons? What it comes down to is all these movements and protests that are trying to accomplish something that can never be accomplished. You're being played. You're being lied to. And then you're lying to yourselves by living an illusion and telling yourselves that it matters and that it's going to make a difference. You're not going to make a difference unless you denounce violence. And you do a peaceful protest, even if the violence is projected on you, even if you are walking in that moment where you're beaten half to death for what you believe in. Guess what? You believe in it and you stood for it. Me, I stand for Jesus Christ. So when that day comes, and if I have to take a beating in His name, or even death, that's up to Him. He's the one that controls my life. I'm of no illusion. And I give it to Him freely. He's my heart and soul. Ladies and gentlemen, I pray that you wake up. I pray that you do your research and look into the things that most people should know. What's behind the scenes. Follow the money. And what's money? It's a symbol. The symbol that most people took for their heart. Because everybody's chasing it. Everybody needs that mighty dollar to get that new car, to pay the bills, or get more food. Why not grow your own food? Why do you need money to pay for that? There's ways of creating your own electricity. You don't need to pay for those bills either. But it takes research, it takes effort, it takes work. The gathering of all these people in these rallies and protests, that's the devil trying to mimic God. Because God's going to create and call upon a great gathering, a gathering of His people, under Him, for Jesus, with Jesus, and it's coming very soon. Those that are watching, the watchmen on the wall, those that are awake and listening, they know. I pray for all of you. I love all of you. And I pray that we all come together one day. Instead of fighting each other, fight the evil that's here. The principalities and powers. Not the flesh. Not the people. But what's behind the people. God be with you all. In Jesus Christ's name I pray. Amen.